So string methods are slightly different format, but they're just functions. The way we interface with them is we write the name of the string. So in this case, my string is called a_string. And then we do a dot and then the name of this method. In this case, so there's a lot of, for strings, there's a lot of different methods that we can use. I'm just going to highlight a few useful ones. So one useful method is the dot upper, and then parentheses because it's a function that does things. So if you do string dot upper and add the parentheses, it will give you a version of the string that is uppercase. Like every single letter of the string is uppercase. If you do string dot lower, it'll all be lowercase. If you do string dot capitalize, it'll capitalize the first letter of the string. A couple things to keep in mind. For capitalize, it really only capitalizes the first letter of the string, so it's not going to like capitalize every word. And then the other thing is these are functions that return a new string, but the original string stays the same. So like here I've got two variables, x and y. X is the first version of the string, the original. So I had earlier on in this code, I had like x equals hello, right? And x started off as hello lowercase, and at the very end we print it out and it's still hello all lowercase. But when we run x dot upper, that returns a value, and we can assign that value to a variable. In this case, we're going to name that variable y. So if we print out y, which is the return value of that upper function, then we end up printing out all uppercase. So yeah, we're not changing the original string, we're making a new string. Cool. Another thing we can do is search for one string inside of another. So we take our string that we're searching within, like the larger string, and then we do dot, and we can do find to say where in this string do we find a particular thing. And this one actually takes an argument inside of the parentheses that says what we're looking for in that larger string. So here we have lyric equals you can't spell awesome without me. And then when we do lyric.find and we put the argument me inside of the parentheses, the find method is going to tell us the index of the first place it sees the word me. So in this case, me starts at index 22. If we don't find the smaller string that's the argument inside the larger string, then find will return a -1. Basically just says like it's not there. So yeah. Another thing you might want to do is find out how many times a string shows up. So me appears twice in this lyric, and so when we do lyric.count parentheses me, we get the output 2 because me appears 2 times. Replacement also exists, and I forgot to actually make a slide for this. Love my how prepared I am. Let's see. Let's see if we can get Visual Studio Code in here. Okay, so replace is another method. I'm going to put it down here. So x equals hello, how are you, Aaron? And we're going to do x dot replace. We're going to replace Aaron with Dr. Eby, and we're going to print that out. So let's go ahead and do that. Running that. And so what prints out is, hello, how are you, Dr. Eby? So we took this string that we found in the larger string and we replaced it. Yeah. Another thing we can do is take all of the spaces and replace them with stars. Like there's a lot of choices of like how you can use that function. Okay, cool. Now let's go back to the slides. So that's replace. And the parameters are old and new. So the first argument is going to be the string that we're looking for, and then the second argument that we put in is going to be what should go in that place for this new version of the string. Other things that exist are string padding. So let me move that in here as well. So sometimes it can be nice to center a string. So say we have x equals hello, and we want to print that out really nicely. So let's say x equals hello. Actually, here we go. Here's what we'll do. Print unit 1 print hello. I don't know. Print we did some stuff. This isn't very illustrative. It's fine. So say we want to print this out, instead of printing it out all left justified like this, maybe we want to center it. So we can do dot center. Now I think it requires a parameter. Yeah. So if we just run center, nothing happens. But if we tell it the width that we want it to print out, then it'll start doing something. Let's say I want 20 characters. And so I want to pad spaces before and after the line that I'm printing out. So now unit 1 is all centered. So I'm going to center all of these with the width of 20. And we should end up with like centered text like that. Yeah. So super useful to be able to go letter by letter through a string or word by word through a string. So I'm going to talk about how to do that. So one way to iterate through a string is to use a for loop. And because Python understands that strings are just sequences of characters, you can use a for loop and you can just say for character in string. And you can change the word, like it doesn't have to be this variable, this loop variable doesn't have to be character, it could be some other word. And then if we print one character at a time, one on each line, we end up with P is the first character, then Y, then T, then H, then O, then N. So if we wanted to do an operation on every single character in the string, we would be able to do that using this for loop. Spaces count as characters. So SPACES, and then a space is the next line. So that spaces count as a character that we're looping through. Okay, and then sometimes we might want to iterate through words, go one word by one word. So to do that, if we have a sentence like just keep swimming, we could do for word in. Now we can't just do for word in sentence because that'll give us every single character in sentence. But what we can do is we can do for word in sentence dot split. And you can tell it exactly what you want the separator to be between words. And then it will print out however much of the string it gets to before it sees this separator, which is just an empty space. And then it'll go past that separator and then keep going until it sees the separator again. That's the next word. And then it'll keep going until it sees the separator again or it gets to the end of the string. Cool. Those are string methods. And I'm going to do user input also. But first, I'm going to stop recording.